Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters, from anime, series or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86, and today from Pokemon and Bandai, in celebration of the Pokemon Fossil Museum exhibition, I present to you Aerodactyl. Here you can see the Pikachu wearing his fossil outfit, similar to how Grant wore his in Jurassic Park, that is being used to represent the Pokemon Fossil Museum that is currently being displayed at the Field Museum, which is something that has become available now all the way through April of 2027. And yes, this is a fossil kit, as you can see here, and it says no glue, no cutting tools is required, and you get color plastics. But learning from my lessons from the other model kit from Zoids, Ayo Kiriyama and the Blade Liger, I'm gonna use the snipping tools, because in that one I made a fatal mistake when I try not to use them. And if you haven't checked out that video, I suggest you go look at it, especially if you're a big fan of Zoids. So looking at the overall view of the box, it's got an image of the museum with the Aerodactyl skeleton being displayed. Obviously on the side you can see the actual figure of Aerodactyl. And this is a special piece that helps celebrate the whole Pokemon Fossil Museum that has just started going. So to me, this brings the event full circle. Looking at the corners of the box, you can see that this is a model kit. So not only do you have the skeleton, but you also have the exterior layer. So you can display them both as the fossil with the skeleton, or you can display them as the Pokemon itself. And here you can see some of the articulated joints, and then towards the end, you can see how it will look with a diorama. On the side of the box is basically a short crop picture of the front image showing both the fossil and the actual Aerodactyl. On the backside corner you have an overview layout of all the pieces that come in and each one of the cells that contain the certain pieces that will come together to create this figure. And it looks like it also comes with a sticker sheet, and I guess those are instructions. On the final corner of the box is again similar to the opposite side, which is another image reflecting the fossil structure that is being displayed in the museum. So let's go take a look at it. Upon opening the box, all the different cells come in 3 different plastic bags. You have a smaller one with the clear and red pieces. Then you have 2 larger ones that have the sections for not only the fossil version of Aerodactyl, but also the actual figure itself. And you have a sticker sheet there. Hopefully you can see it between the wings. Here's an overview of all the cells taken out of the plastic bag. So as of right now, it doesn't look super complicated, but we'll see as we dive into it more. We have 6 different cells along with a mini sticker sheet, which for the sticker sheet, I think it only has the eyes and the tongue. And hopefully the stickers work out, because honestly, I'm not a big fan of the stickers. So in general, it doesn't look as complex when compared to a Zoid kit. In case you're wondering, the plastic is not that thick. As you can see, even by the cells, they're very flimsy. They bend very easily, so just be careful when snapping them off. And based on this, they seem very fragile and thin. Looking at the instructions for an overview is basically done in the shape of a pamphlet, similar to what you get when you go to a museum. So as you see, it's got 2 sections. The upper section has got the same picture from the front of the box, where it's got the Aerodactyl in the skeleton form being displayed as a centerpiece of the museum. Then towards the center you have both the Aerodactyl figure in completeness, and you also have it being displayed in its fossil form. So going by the individual section by section, the first one has the overall layout view of each one of the cells, and you can see how each one is coded differently to basically keep track as we go through the instructions. On the second section, it gives you a breakdown of how they label every single piece and some quick guidelines of how to do these model kits. From there on, you have an image of the completed Aerodactyl in its fossil form, and then you have all the different little steps showing you how to get there. basically starting from beginning to ending. As you can see, it's got several different steps here as you go along through it, attaching both the different body pieces and making sure you get all the joints, and towards the end you end up on how to display them on the base, and then you have every single piece and the overall summary of how they come together. On the back side of the pamphlet, it's showing you how to assemble the Aerodactyl in its live form. So you have the image of the figure, and then it shows you how to put the quote-unquote the skin onto the skeleton. In general, the brochure is not thick, it's very thin and flimsy, so just be careful, if not it's going to get wrinkled very quickly. But it's something in common with actual brochures from some museums that I've been to in the past, where the brochure paper itself is not that really strong. But there are some museums that actually give you a good high quality brochure, but this one is not one of those. So this is basically a very thin type of brochure that you're going to get here for these instructions. I do like that Pokemon did take this whole museum theme all the way to the max, even on how they did the instructions by sticking to a museum style brochure. So that is a neat factor that they were thoughtful of. And here's the 360 of the fossilized Aerodactyl, as shown in Pure City, for those of you that remember the classics. Overall, I like how it looks. It looks really good, especially with the whole skeleton outline and everything. You got some really good details there, especially as you go from the ribs to the spine. Each little segment is crafted very well, especially for the size of the figure. Assembling the figure was very easy. I will give it a 1 out of 10 on the difficulty level. The instructions were very straightforward and clear. Snapping the pieces out of the individual cells was also extremely easy. I know I mentioned earlier that I was going to use the cutters just because of my experience of how Eio Kiriyama in the Blade Liger went. But here it was not the case. I actually did it all by hand. One thing that I did notice is that snapping the pieces off were very easy, and actually if you have fingernails you could actually just press your nail on the individual attachment pieces just to get a head start, and then the rest of it can just fold away. The other thing that I liked is that all the individual pieces perfectly fit with one another as they came together to create this fossilized Aerodactyl. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Now check out some of the articulations that you're getting with this particular Pokemon fossil of Aerodactyl. So this is the head movement. As you can see, he's got up and all the way down the jaw. This is as maximum as it goes, and this is as far up. See that? He's got 360 on the head for the most part. Not only at the section by the head, but also by the body, as you see here. He's got up and down movement there too, and he also got angular. You can see that. Now for the arms, if you really wanted to, you can get a 360 out of it, and he's got a little bit up and down too. The next one's for the legs. He's got 360. There's no movement on the knees, and the ankles, you can get 360 out of there if you really wanted to. And as for the tail, he's got up all the way down, and he's got a little bit of angle. See that? So overall, he's got some really good articulations for an ancient fossilized Aerodactyl Pokemon. So there you have it. I decided to do a second scene just to show you how amazing this figure really is, especially with the articulations. As you can see on this pose, I have the fossilized Aerodactyl facing to his left. And the other thing I did is I removed the base just to show you with the right angles in the right position, you could actually get the figure to stand without the use of the stand that comes with them. And this is something that I really like about the figure. It has basically endless types of poses that you could do. And I think if you really wanted to get that museum effect, you could actually do something with the holes. If you look at some of the sections, he's got little holes there, which is how the second layer gets attached to him. But if you get creative enough, you could actually put some drawstrings through that and actually make him hang through the air, similar to how he would be displayed at an actual museum, which makes me very curious about the fossil exhibition to see how they're exhibiting this Aerodactyl in person. So in case you're wondering, the Pokemon Fossil exhibition is available now and displayed at the Field Museum in Chicago. So if you haven't gone up there, or if you're planning on going, I suggest you go check it out. And hopefully this is one of the Pokemon fossils that they have displayed there, since that is basically the whole theme of it, is basically the excavation to showcase all these fossil Pokemon that have been growing over each one of the generations. For this one, I now have Aerodactyl as he is shown in Pokemon. It is no longer a fossilized ancient Pokemon. It has now come to life. Assembling the figure for this round, it was a little bit more difficult than I was expecting when I did the fossilized version. Snapping the pieces of each individual cell was still very easy, similar to how I did it with the bones. I didn't need to use any cutting tools. I was basically able just to use my fingernail just to snap one section off and then bend the other ones out of it to get the snaps. The one thing that I did notice is now on this one you can see some of the blunt cuts on it, especially on the edges of the figure. Now they're really noticeable, and I think that's just because of the color. The one thing that did make it a little bit difficult to assemble was when you were attaching the outer layer into the bone layer. It didn't really have a good fixed point on it, so the bone ended up rotating between the shells. So I had to basically go back a couple steps to take the figure apart, just very minimum, just so I could get a good gripping hold so the two snap features could align for the outer layer. The other thing is putting the stickers was also a little bit challenging. So for this one, on the difficulty level, I'll give it a 2 out of 10. It would have been nice if those two sections for the eyes and the tongue actually came painted on.
Aerodactyl, an extinct flying Pokemon. Its hard fangs suggest that it was a carnivore. Its sharp claws were probably used to capture prey.
Here, just to show you the articulation points that you now gain with the figure, or I should say that you now have lost once you added the outer layer. So neck movement now only comes from the base of the body. You lose all the movement that was once present on the head from the top section of the neck. The mouth, this is as much as you could open it, and this is as far as it looks closed. So you even lose some of the range within the mouth. You have a little bit movement there, they still kept it, so up, all the way down, and then you can still rotate it with the 360. But at that point it starts to lose kind of like the form and the shape of what the figure is supposed to be. And the tail, the articulation point is no longer there, so that is gone. The other thing is the legs are now very limited, so you have this one, and this is as high as it goes, and this is as far back. And as you see, now you have the cut line, so now it looks less natural. So even here now it starts to look very unnatural, and again you just started to lose all the articulating points that you once saw there. And you still keep the 360 on the ankles, but I mean, you're not going to do much with that anyway. So there you have it. For this scene, I have Aerodactyl taking flight. As you can see, the figure still looks really good, especially in this position, just as the Pokemon Aerodactyl that he is. as he came back to life thanks to us taking the amber to Cinnabar Island and having the scientists there retrieve it. The only downfall is that you lose 85% of the articulations that you had when the figure was in its fossilized form. To me, it looked a lot better than this one, but you let me know in the comments with your thoughts. Do you prefer it in the fossilized stage? The other thing to note, once I added all these pieces, now you can really see the cut lines of every little segment. Overall, I really like what Bandai did for this one in collaboration with Pokemon in celebration of the Fossil Museum exhibition. And I know that thing's going worldwide, but if you have a chance, go to Chicago and check it out. So I do plan on going at some point, but I'm pretty sure right now it's very packed with everyone going down there and checking it out. But for now, this is something that I wanted to share, and hopefully we get more of these particular fossilized Pokemon showing the skeleton form, which I really like, and that is what really influenced me to getting this figure. The other thing that I would really like to see is not only just have this Aerodactyl, but also have the other fossil Pokemon, for example Kabutops and Armostar. And I know there are other fossilized Pokemon too, that eventually every time a new set of Pokemon are introduced, they also touch base upon creating more of these fossilized Pokemon. Let me know, out of the ancient historic fossilized Pokemon, which one's your favorite one. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.